I am Jenna Wasonko and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And now here are the main news headlines. The new U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Kroma, on Friday presented her credentials to President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul. The Gambia Association of Local Government Authorities on Thursday held a press conference appealing to President Adama Barrow to stop the governor of CRR from interfering in the allocation of shops at the newly constructed Basse Market. The Independent Electoral Commission on Friday began a 3-day capacity building training for 150 assistant returning officers as part of preparations for the National Assembly elections. Following the nomination of candidates for the April 9th National Assembly elections, I went out to find out citizens' expectations of their parliamentarians. And in sports news, the coaching staff and football players of Dolphins Football Club received a day-long capacity building training on the dangers of using illicit drugs organized by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us. You're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Wasonko. Now, the new U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Kroma, on Friday presented her credentials to President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul. Aliou Cisse has the rest of that.
New U.S. Ambassador Sharon L. Kroma, who arrived in the country last Monday, replaces Ambassador Richard Pascal, who had served since 2019. Ambassador Kroma was nominated to serve in the Gambia by President Biden in June 2021 and got Senate confirmation in December. Until her appointment to the Gambia, she was Mission Director of the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, at U.S. embassies in Ghana, Tanzania, and Nigeria. In Washington, she was USAID Senior Deputy Assistant Administrator in the Bureau of Management between 2009 and 2010. And she had served variously as Acting Senior Deputy Assistant Administrator and Acting Assistant Administrator in the Bureau of Democracy, Conflict and Humanitarian Assistance, and as USAID Acting Chief Human Capital Officer and Acting Senior Deputy Assistant Administrator for the Office of Human Capital and Talent Management. Her other foreign assignments include Indonesia, Senegal, Ivory Coast, and Pakistan. Speaking to the press after presenting her credentials to President Barrow, Ambassador Kroma promised to build on the gains of her predecessor to further strengthen the bilateral ties between Banjul and Washington, D.C.
I am so pleased to be here in the Gambia, and I just presented my credentials to His Excellency, President Barrow. He welcomed me warmly, and he said it was a homecoming. And he's absolutely right. I was here 45 years ago as a young student with other American students. We were invited by a young English teacher from the Gambia to travel to his village to celebrate Eid. We did, and it was a glorious time. And it impacted my decision to join the Foreign Service of the U.S. government. And here I am today as the U.S. ambassador, here to build the partnership between the U.S. government and the people of the Gambia, to strengthen democratic institutions, to advance good governance, and to promote human rights, and to build economic prosperity. So thank you very much. I appreciate being back in the Gambia.
Ambassador Kroma graduated from Barnard College, Columbia University with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, and from Georgetown University Law Center with a Juris Doctor degree. She is a recipient of a Presidential Rank Award, the USAID Administrators Re-Engineering Award, a State Department Superior Honor Award, and multiple performance awards for her more than 3 decades of service. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Now we wish Ambassador Kroma a successful time in the Gambia. Now, the Gambia Association of Local Government Authorities on Thursday held a press conference appealing to President Adama Barrow to stop the governor of URR from interfering in the allocation of shops to business owners at the newly constructed Basse Market. Yaya Jawo has more.
non mi harna area council naɓe
ma ko area council gole ko
ɓe gaccira hakkille o marché
alsi hakkilo tudi marché
o marché ko central government darni o marché
akoni marché o bangola marché ko dawlale yago
kono marché ko area council watta ɗum manage
ako marché area council aɓe tabla wala muno koto
kono committee men darata o ko governor wonta chairman of the committee
ako committee member wala governor ɓe kala committee marché ñago bote
ko ɓen gokkirta marché o kala gokkaɗo marché o ta governor waɗani ɗum stamp ganda is null and void a heɓata bilig marché governor tampi ɗum.
That was President Barrow speaking in Fula at the inauguration of the new Basse market on
Local Government Act 2002. The President's decision to assign the governor to lead the allocation of the canteens at the new market is by far one of the highest infringements of the legally mandated functions of the Basse Area Council.
Mr. Sane added that the President's decision overrides the powers vested in Basse Area Council by the Local Government Act 2002.
The attacks on the chairman and his office at Basse Area Council, particularly relating to the same market project, is seriously opposed to modern administrative protocols and must be avoided completely for not only respectable working environment, but nurturing of peace and tranquility, as well as fostering effective delivery for the interests of our taxpayers.
Chairman Sane called on President Barrow to rescind his decision over the Basse market.
We therefore request the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, to please kindly rescind his decision and restrain the Governor of URR from taking responsibility of allocating the canteens at the Basse New Market.
The people in the region have in turn criticized Basse Area Council for selling sub-application forms for a non-refundable fee of $500 and not putting a limit to the number of forms to be sold, knowing that there are only 246 subs. Fode Danjo, the chairman of the Basse Area Council, had this to say.
I think that was addressed well before the market was even inaugurated. The council has come with a resolution that anybody who paid your money or bought the application form, if you are not lucky to get a sub, your $500 will be refunded to you.
The National Assembly Select Committee on Local Government, Ombudsman and IEC, in its scrutiny of the financial statement of local councils, found several irregularities in the administration of the councils, including Basse. And many people have accused our councils of bribery, nepotism, and unfair allocation of subs or canteens, and giving preference to foreigners. The $112 million Basse market with 246 subs is now embroiled in what some describe as political or power struggle. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
Interesting. And now the Independent Electoral Commission on Friday began a 3-day capacity building training for 150 assistant returning officers as part of preparations for the National Assembly elections. Mohamed Lamin Choi has more.
The Independent Electoral Commission is on a final round of preparations to the National Assembly elections after wrapping up nominations this month. The IEC's Chief Electoral Officer, Sambu Jangjai, welcomes the participants and has this message for them.
During the next 3 days, we are going to share experience and knowledge in the area of election conduct. Therefore, I encourage all of us to take this session serious and to fully participate. May I also remind you to be professional at all times in the discharge of your duties.
Conducting a free, fair and credible election, which is a core mandate of the Independent Electoral Commission, is regarded as a complex task. But without a well-trained polling staff, that mandate can be compromised. The IEC chairman, Ali Momanjai, shares his expectation with the participants.
The effective and efficient participation of regular staff cannot be understated. Thus, it is important that election staff are fully conversant with their roles and responsibilities in the conduct of elections. Thus, this training is paramount in the conduct of these elections.
As an expression of reassurance, the IEC chairman also brands the Gambia's electoral process as highly credible and expresses commitment to holding onto the very principles of a democratic election.
I firmly believe that by the end of this training, all of you would be adequately equipped with necessary tools to conduct highly credible, free, fair, and inclusive elections as decided by the Gambia electors. As you may all know, we pride ourselves in conducting the most free, fair, and transparent elections throughout the world.
Parmakan Khan is the Director of Training and Communications of the IEC, and he gives an overview of the training.
So we can take time to refresh our memories to make sure that we fully understand the process, because we expected to train others. So if we don't have a good knowledge of it, so we may not do as expected.
From this refresher training of trainers, the assistant returning officers will conduct step-down trainings for over 6,000 polling staff across the country to share knowledge and skills learned about the proper conduct of the upcoming National Assembly elections. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
That story by Mahmoud Lamin Choi on IEC training. We will now go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some more local news stories for you as well as sports. Do stay tuned.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am Q-Cell. I am Synubus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, what do citizens expect of their parliamentarians following the nomination of candidates for the April 9th National Assembly elections? I went out to find out.
The Independent Electoral Commission endorsed 252 candidates and rejected 5 in the recently concluded nominations. We engaged these students and pedestrians to hear their expectations of their constituency representatives and what role they play in the National Assembly.
Parliamentarian they are like representative to their communities, and they like making laws and budgets and other stuffs.
A parliamentarian, basically, it's someone that is representing his constituency. Let's say, for instance, there is a bill that is presented to the House, and you, being the representative of your respective constituency, should be there to ensure that the rights of your people are protected.
The job of a parliamentarian for me is to support their nation and check what the country needs and defend it in parliament and work towards it. Parliamentarians should agree and disagree sometimes. Salu Baji from Birkama South constituency says tackling corruption through the parliament is key.
A corruption bill. We want it to be, because when you look at the present situation in the country, corruption have taken a big wave. So I believe in my constituency, we have, the young ones that are coming up would at least go in for it and then strengthen it more so that, they can adopt it.
Alaji Jalo from Bundum-Kakunda constituency is advocating for price control legislation by parliamentarians.
Develop
I expect the parliamentarians to help develop the country and their respective constituencies. Also, the prices of commodities are expensive and we need price control. They should help us stabilize prices. We are suffering.
Suwaibu Fofana from Jara West constituency calls for the revival of the draft constitution.
With regards to the new constitution that has been ditched just a few months ago, or let's say last year, my take would be for them to bring the constitution back to life, because term limit is something that is very important. You cannot leave a president to be ruling your state without a restricted term limit. Term limit will ensure that the president work up to in line with the development plan, not to go outside, because he or she will be reminded that I have a limit, a maximum of 5 years or 10 years. So if I'm not able to complete these projects, I'll be termed as a failure.
The campaign period for the parliamentary elections started from March 17th to the 7th of April. Gambians head to the polls on April 9th, 2022. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
Now, a handbook titled The 121 Things You Should Know About the Police in Democratic Dispensation, written by Inspector Amadou C. Jallo, was launched by the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Abba, at the police headquarters in Banjul. Here is Fode Mane.
This book will guide communities to know more about the police, their civic rights and responsibilities, and the road safety procedures in order to cooperate with the law enforcement officers to deliver professional police services. Ibrahim Abba, the Assistant Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force, says human resource development is at the top of the GPF security reform agenda.
We are not only boasting of bachelor's degree holders, but the number of master's degree holders or even doctors in the Gambia Police Force are uncountable. So whoever sees a police officer and you think is only somebody who knows Nyamo Bero, it's no more Nyamo Bero. We have intellectuals of the highest caliber who can stand on any international platform and represent not only the police, but the Gambia as a country.
The author, Abdou C. Jallo, shares his motivation for writing this book.
I started working on this book in 2016 when I commenced my cadet rotation, as I was opportune to work in many units of the force. Then I realized the challenges the police face in the due execution of their duty due to lack of understanding or little knowledge regarding the police work. It is against this background that we decided to invite the National Library people who issued me with the ISBN number to be able to legalize and publish this book.
Lamin Kinkoli, Commissioner of Mobile Traffic, commended the author for his efforts in producing this valuable book.
Reading through the book, a number of things attracted my attention. First, it is that the publication is not a life history of the author, Abu Jallo. Rather, it is an intellectual effort by a brilliant and brainy officer who drew on his rich and generous ICT and traffic experience to leave a lasting legacy of human development for his primary responsibility as a police officer.
Superintendent Lamin Jai, the public relations officer of the Gambia Police Force, has this to say.
We encourage even the public to go ahead and grab a copy of the book so that it will serve as a very important guide to allow them to be able to understand police operations and the importance of those operations, especially when it relates to keeping the peace and security.
Abdou C. Jallo joined the Gambia Police Force in 2012 and became a cadet inspector in 2016. Until 2020, when he was confirmed as an inspector attached to the mobile traffic unit in Kanifing. Reporting for QTV News, I am Fode Mane.
From that story by Fode Mane, now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. The coaching staff and football players of Dolphins Football Club received a day-long capacity-building training on the dangers of using illicit drugs. It was organized by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Ajibintu Drame has more.
Although stimulants can boost physical performance and promote aggressiveness on the field, they have side effects that can impair athletic performance, which make it hard to concentrate on the game. It impairs judgment, leading to risky decisions and behaviors, and it directly reduces physical and intellectual performance in many areas. Therefore, sporting bodies all over the world have banned and discouraged the use of illicit drugs in sports. Mamour Menga, the president and co-founder of Dolphin Star Football Club, says the principles of the club is to engage youth, particularly the vulnerable, in career development, such as skills training, among others.
As an organized management body, we will continue to engage the young people and their families to make sure we achieve a collective success in bringing positive change in the society. It is a national concern as a youth leader to engage the young people in order to carry out twinning program with various stakeholders within the globe. We already engaged the National Youth Council for partnership opportunities in order to raise funds and donations from individuals, philanthropists, NGOs, and other partners for scholarship packages at tertiary level. This will improve and support the youth empowerment, as life after football is always the concern.
Mr. Menga further stated that projects are on the pipeline to help boost youth empowerment.
To partner with stakeholders to fight the use of illicit drugs and crimes in the community.
Ibrahim Drame, speaking on behalf of the Director General of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Gambia, calls for more collaboration with youth to combat the use of illicit drugs.
While we may not want to dwell more on his personality and history, it is important that we draw public attention to his story so that it can serve as a motivation and a message of hope for those struggling with substance use disorders. We hope that the media will help disseminate and amplify such success.
Mr. Drame says one should have the willfulness and commitment to stop the use of illicit drugs, adding that youth should emulate Mr. Menga's story in order to be useful in society.
On a daily basis, we receive series of requests from youth groups and community-based organizations for support and partnership. The agency, as a government-subvented institution, cannot support all these programs or all these groups. We therefore call on all other institutions, including the private sector, support programs and activities aimed at reducing the demand for illicit drugs.
The Drug Law Enforcement Agency's core mandate is to make Gambia an illicit drug-free country. Over the past month, the Gambia have intercepted huge amounts of drugs in various places in the country. This training is among many where youth are guided and sensitized on the dangers of using illicit drugs. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
From that story by Ajibintu Drame, let's now take a look at our main headlines. The new U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon El-Kroma, on Friday presented her credentials to President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul. The Gambia Association of Local Government Authorities on Thursday held a press conference appealing to President Adama Barrow to stop the governor of URR from interfering in the allocation of shops at the newly constructed Basse Market. The Independent Electoral Commission on Friday began a 3-day capacity building training for 150 assistant returning officers as part of preparations for the National Assembly elections. Following the nomination of candidates for the April 9th National Assembly elections, I went out to find out citizens' expectations of their parliamentarians. In sports news, the coaching staff and football players of Dolphins Football Club received a day-long capacity-building training on the dangers of using illicit drugs. It was organized by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us tomorrow, same time for more news. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.